Kirk is in the files too. She is in the files in connection to Romania, which has been confirmed as a...
What if I told you that a bombshell revelation just dropped on one of the biggest podcasts out there, allegedly exposing a twisted web of secrets from the infamous Epstein saga? Picture this: Mikey McCoy, the guy who's been whispering about elite shadows for years, sits down with Joe Rogan and spills what sources claim is the sickening truth about Erika's supposed involvement at that notorious mansion. Hold on. Did she really play a key role in the chaos, or is this just another wild rumor fueling the fire? You won't believe the drama unfolding right now. Stick around as we dive deep into this alleged nightmare that's got everyone talking. Alright, folks, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into what insiders are calling one of the most explosive moments to hit the airwaves in recent memory. Imagine this: Joe Rogan, the king of unfiltered conversations, has a guest on his podcast who's not just dropping hints, he's allegedly handing over what some are calling game-changing details about a figure tied to the darkest corners of the Jeffrey Epstein saga. And that figure? According to circulating claims and viral clips blowing up online, it's Erika. Yes, the same Erika whose name keeps popping up in these wild, swirling controversies that refuse to die. Now, let's set the stage properly without jumping to conclusions. Jeffrey Epstein's world was a labyrinth of power, money, private islands, and mansions where, according to court documents and survivor testimonies, unspeakable things allegedly happened. Names from Hollywood to Wall Street to politics have been dragged through the mud, some with real connections, others just whispers that refuse to fade. The Epstein files, those massive dumps of documents, keep fueling speculation, even years after his death. People are still dissecting flight logs, visitor records, and anonymous tips, asking, who really knew what? Who was really there? Enter Mikey McCoy. If you're tuned into conservative circles, political drama, or Turning Point USA fallout stories, you know the name. McCoy has been right in the thick of high-stakes conservative activism, close to big names, navigating scandals that make headlines. But this appearance on Rogan? It's next level. Sources close to the conversation, anonymous insiders who've dissected every second of the clip, say McCoy didn't hold back. He reportedly laid out claims suggesting Erika had a far more significant presence at Epstein's infamous properties than anyone previously admitted. Not just a casual flyby visit, but allegedly a recurring role in the shadowy goings-on at that mansion where so much darkness unfolded. Think about it, Epstein's New York mansion wasn't some quiet getaway. It was allegedly a hub, parties, meetings, power plays, where influential people crossed paths with danger. Rumors have swirled for years about who attended, who stayed overnight, who might have turned a blind eye or worse. And now, in this podcast moment, McCoy is said to have pointed fingers directly, claiming from what he describes as solid leads that Erika wasn't just peripherally linked, she played a central part in the mansion's twisted ecosystem. According to these alleged accounts, her involvement went beyond social appearances into something far more disturbing, something that allegedly helped keep the whole operation humming. But wait, why now? Why is this blowing up? Because the Epstein story never really died. Every time new files drop or a podcast guest gets bold, the internet erupts. People are hungry for answers, for accountability. And McCoy, with his insider cred from political trenches, suddenly becomes the messenger. Critics say he's got motives, personal grudges, shifting alliances in the conservative world, but defenders argue he's finally voicing what others have whispered for years. Either way, the tension in that Rogan studio must have been electric. Rogan, known for pushing back hard, reportedly leaned in, questioning, probing, while McCoy doubled down on these explosive allegations. Let's not sugarcoat it. If even a fraction of this holds water, it reshapes narratives around power and privilege. Erika, who some portray as a grieving figure or a behind-the-scenes player in other dramas, suddenly gets painted in a much darker light. Sources claim McCoy referenced timelines, possible travel records, and even vague proof handed over during the chat, things like alleged photos, messages, or witness statements that tie her directly to the mansion's darkest days. Of course, none of this is confirmed in official channels yet. It's all circulating in viral clips, Reddit threads, and X storms where people scream, "Connect the dots." And the bad reputation? Oh, it's building. Past whispers about elite circles, questionable associations, and sudden silences when questions get too close, it's all piling up. People point to previous controversies where names like hers surfaced in passing, dismissed as coincidence, but now resurfacing with new urgency. The mansion wasn't just a house. It was allegedly a playground for the untouchable, where lines blurred between networking and nightmare. If McCoy's claims stick, even partially, it suggests Erika wasn't an innocent bystander. She was allegedly embedded, facilitating, or enabling in ways that make your skin crawl. Rhetorical question time. How many more coincidences do we need before we demand real answers? The Epstein web is vast, tangled, and full of people who swear they were just friends or acquaintances. But when someone like McCoy, on one of the biggest platforms out there, allegedly drops this bomb, it forces everyone to pay attention. The suspense is killing us, because if this is true, the fallout could be massive. Careers shattered, alliances broken, truths buried for years finally clawing their way out. We're just getting started here. The scandal is unfolding in real time, and what McCoy allegedly revealed on Rogan is only the tip. Stay locked in, because as we move forward, the details get even wilder. Leaked reports, anonymous tips, public meltdowns. This isn't just gossip, it's allegedly the unmasking of something rotten at the core of power. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. So we left off with Mikey McCoy allegedly dropping this nuclear-level claim on Joe Rogan's show, that Erika wasn't just some name floating around the Epstein orbit. She supposedly had a sick, active role inside that mansion, the kind of involvement that makes people double-take and whisper, "Wait, really?" If you've been following the clips that are exploding across X, TikTok, and every conspiracy subreddit right now, you know the internet is already in meltdown mode. Let's break this down piece by piece, using what sources, leaked audio snippets, and viral breakdowns are saying, because this is where the story gets truly unhinged. First, according to what McCoy reportedly described, and keep in mind we're talking about alleged statements from the podcast itself, Erika's presence at the New York townhouse wasn't a one-off dinner party or a quick photo-op. Insiders dissecting the conversation claim he painted a picture of repeated visits over a stretch of years, overlapping with a period when Epstein's operation was allegedly at its most active and most depraved. Sources close to these discussions, anonymous pod listeners, clip compilers, even some conservative commentators who've gone private, say McCoy referenced vague but chilling details. Late-night arrivals, private meetings in sealed-off rooms, and an alleged pattern where Erika supposedly acted as a kind of connector or facilitator for certain high-profile guests. Not the main player, mind you, but allegedly someone who helped keep the machine running smoothly, greasing palms, smoothing egos, making sure the right people felt comfortable in a place that, according to survivor counts and court filings, was anything but comfortable for many who passed through those doors. One of the wilder bits floating around? McCoy allegedly hinted at travel overlaps and calendar coincidences that supposedly place her in the same cities, sometimes the same buildings, during windows when other big names were also reportedly there. No hard documents have surfaced publicly yet, at least not in the mainstream. But the rumor mill is churning out screenshots of supposed flight itineraries, redacted guest lists, and even blurry photos from old events where faces are half hidden but names are being matched by eagle-eyed internet detectives. Whether any of it holds up under real scrutiny is another question entirely, but right now the narrative is gaining steam fast. And the spending? Oh man, this is where it gets lavish and grotesque at the same time. Epstein's world wasn't cheap. Private jets, black cars on standby, massive security details, art collections worth tens of millions, and parties where champagne flowed like water and discretion was the most expensive currency. If McCoy's alleged account is to be believed, Erika wasn't showing up empty-handed or unnoticed. Sources whispering in dark corners of X claim there were luxury gifts exchanged, high-end fashion sightings, and even vague mentions of financial arrangements that supposedly flowed in her direction. Consulting fees, event appearances, you name it. Nothing illegal on paper, of course, but the optics? Brutal. When you pair that with the mansion's reputation as a place where power met perversion, it starts looking less like networking and more like something far darker. Public reaction has been pure chaos. On one side you've got the diehard skeptics screaming grift and hit piece, accusing McCoy of settling old political scores or chasing clout. Threads are full of comments like, "This dude's been beefing with half the movement for years, now he's dragging her into Epstein to stay relevant." Fair point. Alliances shift fast in that world. But on the flip side, the believers are going nuclear. Hashtags like #ErikaExposed, #EpsteinFiles2, and #RoganBombshell are trending in pockets of the platform. People are posting side-by-side comparisons of old photos, timeline graphics, and even AI-enhanced reconstructions of what the mansion nights might have looked like. One viral thread with over 200K views claims to have receipts from an anonymous former staffer who allegedly saw her there multiple times, though, again, zero verification. Imaginary quotes are flying everywhere too. Picture this one making the rounds. She wasn't just there to chat politics, an alleged insider supposedly told a podcaster off record. She made people feel safe enough to let their guard down. And in that house, letting your guard down was the most dangerous thing you could do. Chilling, right? Whether it's real or fabricated for drama, it's sticking. Then you've got the sarcastic memes. Photoshopped images of Erika in a butler outfit serving drinks at the mansion, captioned Hospitality Queen. Dark humor, sure, but it shows how fast the internet turns horror into entertainment. Rogan himself, from what the clips show, didn't just nod along. He pushed back hard at points, asking the classic "how do you know?" and "what's the proof?" questions. McCoy reportedly stood firm, saying he's seen enough to be convinced and that more will come out when the time is right. That line alone sent shockwaves. People are now refreshing court dockets, FOIA requests, and document dumps like it's Christmas morning. The tension is palpable because this isn't isolated. It ties into bigger waves. The slow drip of unsealed Epstein files, Virginia Giuffre's ongoing legal battles, the questions around who really funded what, and why certain names still haven't been fully explained. If Erika's role was as central as alleged, it raises massive red flags about how deep the protection racket went, and who else might still be shielding skeletons. We're not done yet. The fallout is just beginning to brew, and the next wave of reactions, possible retractions, and maybe even legal threats could hit any minute. Hang on tight, because in Part 3, we get into what happens when bombshells like this start threatening real power structures. Picking up right where we left off. The internet is still reeling from Mikey McCoy's alleged bombshell on Joe Rogan, painting Erika as someone who supposedly wasn't just passing through Epstein's mansion but allegedly embedded in its sick ecosystem. If even a sliver of these claims holds any truth, the dominoes that could fall next would be catastrophic. We're talking career-ending headlines, shattered reputations, frantic legal teams, and a fresh wave of public outrage that could make previous Epstein-related firestorms look tame. Let's walk through what insiders, rumor mills, and the growing online frenzy are predicting could happen when a story this explosive starts threatening real power. First up, the legal angle. Right now, no official lawsuit has dropped naming Erika in connection to these specific allegations, at least not publicly. But the chatter is deafening. Anonymous legal commentators on X and in private discords are already speculating that defamation attorneys are being retained on both sides as we speak. If McCoy's words cross from alleged opinion into provably false statements of fact, lawsuits could fly faster than private jets out of Teterboro. On the flip side, if any of the leads he supposedly referenced, those rumored travel overlaps, witness statements, or shadowy documents, ever see daylight and check out, we could see civil suits from survivors or even renewed calls for criminal probes. Remember, the Southern District of New York and the Virgin Islands AG's office never fully closed the Epstein book. New testimony or fresh tips could reopen old wounds and drag more names into depositions. Government investigations? Don't hold your breath for a Senate hearing tomorrow, but the pressure is building. Congressional staffers who follow these threads are reportedly fielding constituent emails by the hundreds. Progressive lawmakers have already used similar Epstein-adjacent stories to push for broader elite accountability bills. If this Rogan clip keeps gaining traction, and viral metrics say it's on pace to hit tens of millions of views across platforms, don't be shocked if a few committee chairs start asking pointed questions behind closed doors. Why hasn't this angle been explored? Who else was allegedly facilitating? Those are the kinds of whispers that turn into subpoenas when the political winds shift. Then there's the financial fallout. Power players tied to Erika's orbit, whether through business, philanthropy, or political fundraising, start getting nervous when their associate's name gets linked to Epstein in such graphic terms. Sponsors quietly pull back, speaking gigs vanish, board seats get re-evaluated. We've seen it before. One viral moment, one podcast appearance, and suddenly multi-million-dollar deals evaporate overnight. Sources in conservative fundraising circles are already saying the phones are ringing off the hook with donors asking, is this going to blow back on us? If the story escalates, expect a slow bleed crisis where money dries up faster than explanations can be offered. Public backlash is already in overdrive and only getting uglier. The split is brutal. One camp is treating McCoy like a whistleblower hero, flooding comment sections with fire emojis, and finally someone said it. Meanwhile, the other side is labeling him a disgruntled opportunist, accusing him of weaponizing the Epstein tragedy for personal revenge or clout chasing. Memes are everywhere, some darkly funny, others straight up vicious. Photoshop battles rage. Erika in various mansion settings, Rogan with a shocked face filter, McCoy holding a smoking gun labeled allegations. It's grim entertainment, but it keeps the algorithm fed and the views climbing. The most chilling part? The chilling effect on silence. People who might have known something, or suspected something, are now wondering if staying quiet was ever an option. Survivors and advocates are using the moment to remind everyone. This isn't about one podcast clip, it's about a system that allegedly allowed monsters to operate in plain sight for decades. If Erika's alleged role gets substantiated even partially, it forces a reckoning. How many other connectors, facilitators, or social lubricators are still out there, untouchable because of who they know? Hypothetical resignations are being floated left and right. Board positions at major nonprofits, advisory roles in think tanks, even quiet exits from political campaigns. Insiders are betting we'll see at least one or two stepping away to spend more time with family announcements in the coming weeks if the heat doesn't die down. And if it doesn't? We could see full-blown crisis PR teams, emergency pressers, carefully worded denials that satisfy no one. The classic playbook. These baseless allegations are part of a coordinated smear campaign. But in the age of viral audio and endless clips, denials don't kill stories. They fuel them. Here's the bottom line tension. This thing could fizzle if no hard evidence emerges. McCoy could walk it back, Rogan could clarify it was just conversation, and the cycle moves on to the next outrage. Or, and this is the nightmare scenario for some, it could be the spark that lights a bigger fire. More witnesses come forward. More documents leak. More names get pulled in. The Epstein saga has proven time and again that it's never really over. It just waits for the next thread to be tugged. So where does that leave us? On the edge. The fallout is unfolding in slow motion right now, but the speed could pick up any second. Careers hang in the balance, truths might surface or get buried deeper, and the public is watching, angry, skeptical, hooked, and demanding answers. One thing's for sure, if Mikey McCoy's alleged revelations on Rogan turn out to be more than hot air, the consequences could ripple for years. And there you have it. The alleged nightmare Mikey McCoy unloaded on Joe Rogan about Erika's supposed sick role at Epstein's mansion is still rippling through every corner of the internet right now. Whether this turns out to be the smoking gun that finally cracks open more of the elite protection racket, or just another wild swing in the endless Epstein saga, one thing is crystal clear. The truth doesn't hide forever when millions of eyes are watching and digging. So here's where you come in. What do you think? Is McCoy spilling real dirt from deep inside the conservative trenches, or is this payback dressed up as revelation? Drop your hottest take in the comments below. Be brutal, be skeptical, be savage, just don't stay silent. Have you seen any clips, threads, or receipts that make this hit different? Paste the links, roast the theories, defend your side. Let's turn this section into absolute chaos. If you're as hooked on these explosive what-if breakdowns as I am, smash that like button so the algorithm knows we're not playing around. Hit subscribe and ring the bell, because when the next document dump, witness, or podcast bomb drops, you'll want to be first in line for the unfiltered breakdown. We're not here for the sanitized version. We're here for the raw, unapologetic truth-seeking, no matter how ugly it gets. Thanks for riding this roller coaster with me. Comment your verdict right now. Share this if it shook you, and I'll see you in the next one when the fallout really hits. Stay vigilant, stay questioning, and stay locked in.